Welcome to this online interview by Project Cargo Weekly. Our very special guest of honor today is Mr. Miguel Pinto. He's the managing director at LASO. He's based in Maputo in Mozambique. First and foremost, Miguel, very welcome to this interview.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be here with you.
You're most welcome, Miguel. I always allow my interviewees a chance to elaborate a little bit about their career. Miguel, how come you are in shipping and logistics? Why are you not working in a bank or an accountant? Why are you in this field? Please tell our viewers.
I actually started my career as a lawyer in the legal department of a company that was somehow involved in the renewable energies, mostly winds and solar. So eventually, even from the law office, I start getting some opportunity to get some connection with the projects and the execution of projects that require a substantial, planning and complex logistics. Of course, not being involved although I was not involved directly, you start growing some feeling, about it. So a few years later, and after these other steps in my career, because first I started leaving the law department to get to develop more general management functions. Eventually, I had a stint also in the Portuguese government in an area related with projects and investments. And eventually I got this opportunity to work with LASO in Mozambique. And I gave it a shot. So new country, new company, new position. It has been a very exciting 10 years so far. And I think we've been doing some serious stuff here, and we want to do more, and we have expectation and ambition to do more. So,
that's an impressive background. I mean, to come from a lawyer and government position into logistics, it's but you know what they say, the more experience the better. What can you tell our viewers about LASO? Who are you? Who is LASO?
First of all, LASO as a group is a company that is it's a result of a merger between two of the most significant players in Portugal that joined forces in 2017. And sorry, 2007.
Okay.
This LASO started its internationalization process almost immediately from the start. It's first opening branches and subsidiaries in Spain, and later on also a little bit all over Europe. So right now we have presence in not only Portugal and Spain, which are the strongest markets, but also in France, Italy, the Netherlands, UK, and Germany. So in Africa, we started in Africa in 2012. At the time as a GT and different names, same shareholders. I'll go to LASO Mozambique in more detail a little bit later, but we also, back to the experience, we also have an operation right now in Morocco, and we executed projects in a number of other countries in Africa and South America, including Peru in South America, or Senegal, Mauritania, Cape Verde in Africa. Here Here in Mozambique, we have a permanent establishment. As the activity of the company has been incorporated in 2012, but activity started in 2013 when we start receiving the first units of our fleet.
Mhm.
The focus here has been always as a company that is dedicated to the heavy transports and heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so this is part of the idea of Mozambique, is because Mozambique is not only a country with a big potential of growth and with very exciting projects that are ongoing right now, especially in the fields of LNG.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But also mining projects, industrial projects, power and power generation and power transmission. So there's a number of projects that, for because of its type, require the large and complex logistics operations. We focus mostly on the on execution, so on the trucking, on the heavy lifting, including all the engineering of the execution of all the studies that are required, route studies, feasibility studies, the whole requirements of doing projects that
Yeah.
involve the movement of the loads up to 150, 200, 250, 300 tons. This is what we have been doing here
Wow.
insofar, with a lot of challenges, because this is Africa. Of course, the infrastructure is not the best. I've
Yeah.
seen I've seen substantial improvements in some sectors, namely in the ports, over the past years. But in terms of road and bridges, which is one of the biggest constraints that we have here, there's still a lot of
Yeah.
work to do. So
Me- uh,
it's not unusual that when we do a project, we are not just the transporters. We do the transport, yes, but we also build bypasses. We reinforce
okay.
bridges. We position, bridges. We jump bridges over some infrastructures. So there's a
Understand.
lot of we remove obstacles like overhead bridges
Okay.
or billboards. Like the whole
Okay. So
all
so.
the
Mhm.
plays in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very impressive, Miguel. So may I just ask, just so our viewers understand a little bit about your office there. So the headquarter for Mozambique is based in Maputo. How many people are you there, and do you have any other offices, or how are you spread out?
We have 70 workforce of 70
Okay.
people in Mozambique,
Yeah.
of which 95 or 96% are Mozambicans,
Okay.
trained with us over these 13 years now.
Yeah.
And we have the head office is in the outskirts of Maputo,
Yeah.
but we also have presence in Beira to serve the Beira corridors in the center of Mozambique. It
Mhm.
serves mainly the Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Zambia.
Oh yeah.
We also have a yard in Nacala,
Okay.
further north. Nacala is a state-of-the-art port at the moment.
Yeah.
Substantial rehabilitation that has been done 2 or 3 years ago, and it's a very nice infrastructure for the projects in the north, with some limitations, but mostly in the connectivity and the inland connectivity. But
Yeah.
that's another story.
Interesting.
And we also have equipment deployed to Pemba. She's also further north in Mozambique. Pemba has been serving as the logistics base for most of the oil and gas
Yes, I read about it.
majors that are present, and also service providers. In this case, Eni, Total, ExxonMobil will be the majors that are more involved in this, with other partners as well. And the service providers, The Technip, Saipem,
Sure.
the Schlumberger, Baker Hughes,
The usual.
so Weatherford, all of them are there. They have been using Pemba
Yeah.
as a logistic space for since the discovery of the confirmation of the gas reserves in Fungi, which is further north.
Okay.
It's in the
So,
north of Mozambique, of offshore gas
so,
reserves. Yeah.
so it seems, Miguel, you are certainly in the right place at the right time. I mean, if political stability and everything else allows it, I suppose you are really in the center there with these things happening.
Yeah, it's true. You're right, Bob. But but this is something that has been ongoing for quite some time. There's
Yeah.
and the project hasn't developed as fast as one would expect or desire, especially due to some insurgency,
Yeah.
Islamic related with ISIS related or something that is
Mm.
also active in that part of the country, which has led to Total to invoke the force majeure event
Right.
after the attacks of the nearest village in March 2021. So the
Mm.
project has been stopped for almost 5 years. I mean,
Okay.
the site itself hasn't been attacked, but the nearest village is called Palma. Has been attacked, and with
Understand.
many losses of human lives and everything, and this insecurity situation has led to not only to the suspension of the project for that has been lifted just a month ago,
Yeah.
or 2 months ago,
Yeah.
and not only the suspension but also all the logistics, the strategy of the logistics of the project has also changed quite substantially, and
So
right now north of Pemba, pretty much most of the transports are being done by ocean, by sea,
understand.
not by roads.
Right. So, Miguel, your customers, it could be direct BCOs, I mean, beneficial cargo owners. It could also be other forwarders. Or do you call yourself a project forwarder, or do you call yourself an inland service provider? You do the whole scope, or you also service anyone who
No,
comes to?
we're an inland service
Yeah.
provider. I mean,
Okay.
in this market, we our clients would be typically the project forwarders,
Okay.
and especially those that are already in country, who have largest capacity and understanding of the projects, and this is one of our business lines,
Yeah.
but of course, being in country and being known and this is especially relevant for projects that are uh, which decision is made overseas, like or an OEM that hires a full scope service, of a transport of some equipment from
Yeah.
China, from Europe,
Sure.
up to Mozambique. So we just do the final leg. So from
Understand.
the under the hook of the vessel up to the foundation, if needed, depending on the scope.
Okay.
But of course, in country, we also work for the construction companies, project management companies, industrial companies. Some OEMs also know us here, and
Okay.
especially those who have an office or more presence here, already know us, so they also come direct to us. So yeah, so
Okay.
there's
It's
different approaches as
uh,
per according to the strategy, the logistic strategy of each client, of course.
so really, if people need an inland solution and technical solutions in a difficult country, which of course Mozambique is in many ways, and for complex projects, heavy lifts and so on, you are certainly the company to go to. And that means that any you do not have any, let's say, alliances that you only work with this or that freight forwarder or outside or this or that ship owner. You welcome anyone who has an inquiry for Mozambique. You offer them, and then may the best man win, so to speak, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, we don't want to get involved in some parts that we don't really control. We prefer to focus on what we do best. And what we do best is the execution,
Yeah.
either requiring whatever is the multi-axle trailers or the SPMTs, the cranes solutions, the jacking and skidding solution. So we pretty much do the full scope of the inland situation. So yeah, it's not unusual that we are bidding in the same tenders for different
Yeah.
forwarders. What we typically do in these situations, like for us is the same project. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
we will
Who?
be the same, and whoever wins, of course. We
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
our preferences, of course, because of the relationships that we have and the experience that we have. We know, we feel more comfortable in working with some
Yeah.
companies than with others. But in general, we have a very quite open approach on that side. Yeah.
That's very clear. Okay, that's good to hear that you have a clear policy on that. I'm just looking behind me. You can't see it with my background now, but behind me I have the world map, and I'm looking at Mozambique, and quite a big country there. And you mentioned, alluded to a little bit before, some countries via Mozambique can be served, like Zimbabwe, Malawi, Zambia. So that means you also
Yeah, that's
have,
important.
yeah.
Yeah, we are a Mozambican company, but we don't serve Mozambique only. So
Okay,
our operation, our reach is regional.
right.
So it's also because of the geographical position in Mozambique makes it a very important point for the logistics for not only for the interland countries, not only for Mozambique itself and for the projects in Mozambique, but also for the interland countries. So we also provide services on a frequent basis, mostly cross border, but
Mm,
not only, but most of the times will be cross border operations into or from South Africa,
okay.
Botswana, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Zambia. So
Yeah.
these are the countries where we have more regular work. In the
Interesting.
past, we also had some projects to Tanzania and or up to Rwanda. So,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, our activity is regional, not only in Mozambique. Yeah, but
Okay.
from Mozambique, we can serve all these countries like
Yeah.
Beta Corridor. You'll be 300 k's from Zimbabwe
Okay.
or 800 k's from Malawi. South Africa is 100 k's out of Maputo. So from where we are in our head office in 2 hours, we are in Mozambique, in South Africa. So yeah,
Yeah.
so
It's
Mozambique is a big country, but has this strategic and this very
yeah,
favorable position, geographical position to serve
definitely.
these.
And may I ask, we have to talk politics, I'm afraid, a little bit, but the political situation in Mozambique is stable, and you are friends with your neighboring countries. It's all, I often know that some landlocked countries always fight with the one that has access to the sea. But how
Yeah.
is the relationship in your region between the countries?
Now, fortunately, in that from that point of view, I think that the relation is very good. And I mean, I'm not an expert in politics
No.
and definitely not in African politics. But this is I don't see any concerns in that matter.
Okay.
My understanding from what we listen here and there, from what we see in the news, is that the relationship between the governments in the neighbor countries are often very good. So
Okay.
yeah, it's not really an issue, but there's or there's an event, that I mentioned earlier in the north of Mozambique.
Sure.
That is not, it's not a country-backed group, but it is a group causing
Trouble, yeah.
some trouble in the north. Yeah, and that from that
Under,
point of view,
understand,
it's
I understand clearly, but a practical question before I finish off the interview here. A practical question. For example, if you have a delivery into Zimbabwe, would the customs clearance take place in Mozambique, or can you do it under bond, so to speak, so that it's customs cleared at final destination? Or how does that
no,
work?
it will be done in the border between Mozambique and
Ah,
Zimbabwe.
okay.
So
Okay,
yeah.
so that's where you can start.
Um, each border post has different practices, but the governments are talking, and we can see that there's some developments in terms of creating these unique stop border posts to expedite the flow of trucks over the borders, but it's still an issue. It's still
Okay.
an issue that causes some constraints here and there.
Fantastic. Now, I can say, I think I told you before, also I can tell my viewers that I actually, 2 years ago, I was on board a Max vessel arriving in Maputo, and I had one day ashore to say hello to your country. So, quite an
It's,
impressive port, Maputo. The former name was Lorenzo Marquez, wasn't it? Or not?
yeah, before independence, yes,
Ah, yeah,
until 75, because Mozambique was formerly it was a colony of Portugal. So,
right, right.
but the country has been independent for 50 years now,
Yeah.
and yeah, Lourenço Marques is not used anymore. So the name is Maputo.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's only because my dad, rest in peace, was a sea captain, and he was there in the mid 70s, and he told me
Okay,
that
so probably it
he
probably
told me he had been to Lorenzo Marquez. So,
exactly.
so now I understand that. That's good, very good, Miguel. I want to say formally many thanks to you for providing content for this interview.
Thank you, Bo, and yeah, next time you come to Maputo, don't forget to come on shore, and let's have some chat this
That's
size. Okay.
Definitely, Miguel. And to all our listeners, viewers, and readers from around the world, this was yet another great interview by Project Cargo Weekly. Our very special guest of honor today has been the managing director of LASO in Maputo, Mozambique, Mr. Miguel Pinto, a very experienced gentleman with boots on the ground in a very important country, not only for oil and gas and a size in itself, but also for transshipment to neighboring countries. I think you should talk to and contact with LASO here. For me in Project Cargo Weekly, until next time, I remain. Thank you very much.